Last year, I saved up $191,000 and I did it working as a software engineer. I'm not a business owner, I don't have any rental properties, and I'm not an indie hacker. I made it through growing my career, and today I make more than 90% of software engineers in Silicon Valley. So in this video, I will show you how I did that, so you can steal my homework. So let's get started. When I was 29, I was a bit of a loser. I was a software engineer for about 5 years, and I had only $15,000 to my name. And it wasn't because I was blowing money, but unfortunately I was making very little. My salary was only about $38,000 per year, and it was my highest paying job so far. Surprisingly, I was living in Vienna, Austria, the most livable city in the world, but I would rather say the city where careers are dying. Vienna gets a lot of good rap because it's a great place for mediocre people. The wage gap between top 1% and the bottom 50% is usually less than $1,000 per month, so all talented people are moving to Germany, Switzerland, or anywhere else. But this story isn't about Vienna. I moved there after I graduated from college, and I would lie to you if I would say that I did it because of money. I was young and I wanted to live abroad to gain some international work experience. My goal was to boost my career in the long term rather than short term, and this strategy worked perfectly. A few weeks after my 29th birthday, a recruiter reached out to me on LinkedIn telling me that she has a great job opportunity that can double my salary, but there is a catch. The job is overseas. Long story short, I relocated and tripled my salary. Literally, I went from $38,000 to $120,000 after taxes within a year. So how did I do it? Let me introduce you to Software Engineer's Career Pyramid. I must admit this strategy is a bit controversial, but over the course of your entire career, it will make you the most of money. So here is how it works. You should view your career as a pyramid that is divided into 3 levels. The first level, you will make very little, but you will learn a lot. At the last level, you will boost your income and eventually cross 6-figure salary, but to make it work, you need to follow all the steps. So let me show you level number 1. The first level is your entry-level job. It is the biggest to show you that you must aim to get a job at the biggest and the most recognized company as you can. If you are living in Europe, think about SAP, Oracle, Snowflake, Splunk, or maybe even Microsoft. The companies of this size are unattractive for software engineers in general because they have well-established processes and often work with legacy technologies. So joining them might sound like a bad idea, but trust me, it isn't. You will learn how to build software with long-term maintenance, and this is a valuable skill. But your main goal is to get some credibility on your resume, so you should stay there for at least 2 years or more. Then you're ready to level up to level number 2. At level number 2, you are focusing on medium-sized enterprises, basically the companies with about 100 to maybe 150 employees. The biggest difference between those companies and the large enterprises is that you are going to have a chance to meet the CEO of the company, maybe even talk to him during the Christmas party. But don't expect much more than that. At this level, your goal is to increase your compensation by 15 to 25% and get more responsibilities. But remember, you're optimizing for learning and experience rather than income. So if they can pay you 5% more and you will work with amazing people, go for it. You should stay at this company for another 2 years or so, but remember, if you're feeling that you stop learning, then you must look for a new job. You could switch jobs at this level for about 2 times before you level up. And remember, you need to have at least 4 years of experience before you move to the level 3. So let me show you level number 3. At level number 3, you're gonna narrow it down. At this stage, you're gonna try to land your first job at a small company because your goal is to make an impact. By a small company, I mean a company that has less than 60 employees, and that's the place where everything changes. At a company of this size, you're no longer a cogwheel in a big machine, but your work really matters. You won't be working on internal tools anymore, but your code will drive entire business. At this stage, work will be way more intense. You will be wearing multiple hats. One day you might be designing architecture, the next day you might be debugging production issues, and the day after you will be discussing with the CEO new features. The border between roles will blur, giving you the opportunity to stand out and become irreplaceable. Listen carefully because that's what most engineers have it wrong. You need to grow your role to a degree that you become so important that you can negotiate the ownership at the business. At this level, stock options and equity grants are a part of your compensation package. Keep in mind that the ownership will not be granted immediately. First, you need to prove that you are a valuable asset for the company. And don't get discouraged if you fail at the very first trial. My first level 3 job paid me only $38,000, because I didn't manage to grow my influence. But to be honest, I haven't seen much potential in this organization, so that's why I quit it. From the monetary standpoint, it was a failure, but from the experience point of view, it set me for my next job that paid me $10,000 per month after taxes. So in the end, it turned out great for me. And remember, at this point you have only 6 years of experience and it's very little to be considered a high-value software engineer. You are still very early in the game. Your skills are already impressive, but they aren't unique enough. So don't worry if you didn't manage to grow your influence like myself. You just change job after 2 years and be patient. Rome wasn't built in one day. So if you're a software engineer living in Europe, you will be working for about 40 years before you retire. Over the course of the entire career, an average software engineer in Europe will make between $1 million and $2 million before taxes. But if you design your career in the right way, you can blow up your income and exceed even $4 million over the course of your entire career. I know what you think. It might sound unrealistic, but I already made $1.2 million and I have only 13 years of experience as a software engineer. Now I have an awesome remote job that pays handsomely, and as you can hear, I'm not an American and I never lived in the United States. But remember, everything takes time. So probably your next job will not pay you as much as you want, but if you follow my plan, you will definitely get there. But first, you need to know what is your current level in my career pyramid. The rule of thumb is that if you have over 6 years of experience, then you should target level 3 companies and ignore other levels. But if you have less than 6 years of experience, then target level 2 companies. And if you're entry level, then level 1 it is. So now you know what companies you should apply to, but it will mean nothing if you will wreck your coding interview. So that's why you should watch this video next to learn why good developers are failing job interviews.